There's a formula to it. A very simple formula. Everybody's a suspect.
Hi guys, my name's Will and welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to be talking about how Scream changed horror movies and slashers forever, and it's still doing it till this day. So there is 5 kind of main points I want to go over here, but by 1996 the slasher genre was just declining, with so many sequels of Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, Friday the 13th. Fans felt like they've seen it all. It was just repetitive. If they've seen one movie, they've seen the other. That's where Scream comes in. It mixes up the formula. It takes a horror movie and basically flips it, well, a slasher movie, and flips it on its head. It showed audiences how it worked. So it didn't invent slashers, it just showed how it worked. And then Scream was a slasher movie about slashers. So Scream was self-aware in the fact of purely 100% meta. Like, it commented on its own sort of genre. Like, for instance, the character Randy, who was a massive horror fan, and throughout the movies he described what a horror film is, well, what not to do and what to say, like, don't say I'll be right back, never has sex, don't do drugs, that sort of thing. So it was commentating on a horror movie while not being too cliche and still being a really scary movie at the same time. So yeah, that's number one. It was very self-aware. So number 2, it made horror movies smart in a way that instead of solely relying on the gore, on the kills, it leaned more into the mystery of things, and you spent the whole entire time of the movie trying to decide or pick who the killer was, who was doing the killings, who was Ghostface. And even though going back and watching these movies as fans of Scream, you already know who the killer is, but see, introducing someone new to the movie and new to the genre and seeing their reaction and who they think is the killer, it's great seeing their reaction of like trying to figure it out, and then at the end they're going, oh my god, that's the killer / killers. Spoiler alert. So yeah, it made horror movies smart. So number 3 on the list, the opening scene threw every audience member off, and it's because Drew Barrymore was massive in the 90s. So everybody, she was on the front poster. She was on the poster. She was all over the advertisement of this movie, on the marketing. Within the first 15 minutes, she was dead. It left audiences, what I presume, I was born in 94. But I would assume it left me shocked. So back then, seeing it in pictures, I could only imagine it left audiences shocked. And it signalled nobody was safe in this movie. It threw all the cards out the window. In every single slasher movie, you always knew that this person was going to be the final girl or final guy or whatever. You knew from the start of the movie they're going to be the final person. So in 1996, when Drew Barrymore came on screen, I can guarantee you, majority of people says she's going to be the final girl, she's going to make it to the end. Scream just flipped the script and says, you're gone in the first 15 minutes. And it was actually Drew Barrymore who wanted that to happen. So she was the secret genius, if you will, in this whole entire first 15 minutes. Wes Craven didn't want to do this movie. But as soon as the Drew Barrymore was in on it, she gave that idea. It was hooked. It was in on it. And the rest is history, really. So now moving on to number 4. It created a new horror icon that the horror slasher genre was screaming out for. Instead of your Jason Voorhees, your Freddy Kruegers, your Michael Myers, Ghostface was not supernatural. He was just a normal human being, and that made it scarier. Because that means it could have been anybody. Anybody could have been Ghostface. And as I said previously, that's what makes these movies so fun to watch the first time around. They're still fun, but because the first time you watch it in every movie, you do not know who the killer is going to be. It could be, as I said, it could be anyone. So it created this new horror icon. And Ghostface, in my opinion, is the best horror icon in all across horror. Whether it's slasher, supernatural, whatever it is, he is my favourite of all time, full stop. So now on to number 5. It revived the slasher genre in a whole. It just revitalised a stale genre in horror. And it made other directors and screenwriters want to do the same thing. They want to cash grab on the success of Scream. Like, I Know What You Did Last Summer. That, and that's Kevin Williamson who wrote that. Kevin Williamson wrote Scream. He's so good that Kevin Williamson is so good at doing coming of age things. Like Dawson's Creek, for example. So yeah, you've got, sidetracked. So you've got Know What You Did Last Summer. You've got Urban Legend, another freaking classic 90s slasher movie. And then you've got The Faculty. It's not quite a slasher movie, but it's in thereabouts. And then obviously you've got Halloween. The Scream franchise revived Halloween with obviously H2O, and it had that. It didn't have your classic Halloween vibe. It had your more coming of age story, being in a high school, younger characters, and it just had that feeling of a Scream movie. It didn't feel Halloween movie, it felt like a Scream movie. So that's why I'm including Halloween, H2O in particular, in that sort of genre. And I generally feel if it wasn't for Scream coming out when it did, it would just be that boom of horror movies wouldn't be the same. You wouldn't have I Know What You Did Last Summer, Urban Legend. You wouldn't have all these movies. And then in the early 2000s, you had Valentine and stuff. So you had all these slasher movies. They weren't they weren't as great as Scream. Scream was meta, fun, witty, mysterious. So yes, that is why I believe Scream changed horror movies forever. Let me know what you think down below. Did Scream change the genre as a whole? What do you think of the way Scream changed it and the meta commentary? Let me know down below. Like this video and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.